Alright, I thought I was going to be able to do this in like a more coherent, edited way, but Windows Live Movie Maker, well, it sucks. It just sucks. It's terrible, don't use it. Working on getting some other form of movie editing software of some sort so that I'm not just going to be babbling incoherently to the screen for all time. Don't worry, working on it. Not that there's many of you out there to care. I did get one comment, that was nice. Alright, so first off, I think it's pretty clear that these videos aren't going to be made with any regularity. Like, I'm not going to do like a once a week thing. I've already got a few projects going on that are kind of like that. So I think basically these are just going to have to happen when I have a little bit of spare time, like when I'm not completely swamped with homework or dead of sick. I've actually only just gotten over the cold that I mentioned briefly in the last video. I'm still a little coherent words. I'm good at them. Anyway, I think I've been meaning to talk about this for a while. Actually, I've been waiting to make this video because I had a really interesting conversation with a few friends, and it really kind of like stayed with me, and that's, well, I always know that something's important to me when it does that. So I wanted to talk about this conversation that I had. I mean, I was sitting there doing homework for my intro poetry class. We had to read Touch by Henri Cole, who is a very interesting person. He signed it. This is actually my first like book signed by its author. So that's kind of exciting. He was a very nice man, and it was really interesting. He came in and actually talked to our class, like, actually came in and interacted with us and talked to us about, like, the writing process and the things that he thinks are important and, like, what he likes about poetry. I'm actually getting a little bit more into poetry than I have been in the past, but anyway, I was reading the book, and I was sitting there, and it's actually an incredibly sad, it's a devastating book of poems. Like, it's just so sad. Like, I mean, in Touch, he writes about the death of his mother and how that affected him, and war, and being in love with a drug addict, and all the ways that's damaging. And it was just so dark and so touching and horrible in the best possible way. And I was sitting there, and I was actually almost crying because I was already a little bit in kind of a sad mood. I was a little off from the rest of the day, and clearly this was not the right book of poetry to be reading at that point, but I was still handling it pretty well. But I was sitting there on the verge of tears, and everyone else was in the room doing homework too, like a few of my friends, and I look at my friend and I say, I feel horrible. Poetry is terrible and it makes me cry. Why do I love it so much? Why do I love reading this, and why do I enjoy this if it just makes me feel so bad every once in a while? More often than not, it's meaningful if it hurts. And she looks at me and goes, well, to be perfectly honest, psychology makes me feel terrible and horrible about myself, but I love it, and that's what I want to do. Like, and someone else looked over at me and goes, that's how I feel about photography. And like, everyone in the room seemed to have this exact same experience with the one thing that they're passionate about. It makes them miserable, but they love it anyway. And I really didn't, it just kind of stuck with me for the rest of the night, and for the past few days I just can't really get the thought out of my head, and I'm hoping this will be a little cathartic, actually. But it's not just poetry for me, really. I mean, I feel the same way about really powerful music that just sort of drives something home. Like, if a song can make me cry, I love it. It's unlikely that a song that I don't like will make me cry. And I think that's the same with novels, too. If there's no connection, then why would I care enough to cry? Is I think, what it comes down to. So, I don't know, I just wanted to get that off my chest. I'm not sure if I have any, like, epic, glaring conclusions to come to. It just was something that I noticed and something that was interesting to me and something that will probably turn up in my writing in the future. Right. About that, I was talking a little bit about how I've been very interested in poetry lately, and I have been writing a fair bit of poetry because I started a project on Tumblr that was basically a poem a week project, where I'm going to write a poem every week, obviously, but it's all in form, like no free verse whatsoever, just different forms like sonnet, villanelle, ballad, haiku, whatever form I feel like at the time, but a form, a very specific, tight form. Like, I might even look into recreating the form in some Marianne Moore poems, because I'm very interested in her. But yeah, I have that project. I'm also taking an intro poetry course, which, I mean, I'm a senior, I'm taking an intro course. It's very strange, but I've taken up to like the advanced level in fiction, and I was just interested in getting at least a little bit of poetry into me in a creative way before I graduated. And so I have been writing a lot of poetry and thinking in a very poetic way, and the thought came to mind, maybe I could go about maybe doing sort of awkward framed readings on YouTube, if that would be something that, I almost just said something you're interested in, but I'm not sure that's the part that matters much, because I know I don't have very many viewers at this point. So I think if it's something that interests me enough, I might like test it out and see how it looks, how I sound, if I don't hate my voice too much reading a poem, if I don't think I've ruined it. Or, I mean, I guess I would also have to decide between reading my own poetry or reading someone else's, and I'm not sure if there would be any copyright problems, but I don't think so. I think that's all the important crap I had to say today. Oh, right, this. If you know me in real life, like if you just happen to have like happened upon this, or if somehow you got magically linked here, because I know a few people probably know what my YouTube account name is in real life, and well, if you get here, if you actually like know me and interact with me on like a human, like real life level, don't let me know you have seen these videos. Do not. Just don't let me know that you know that I'm doing this, because I have anxiety about things, and that I feel like that's just one of those things that will destroy me, kind of. I will not be able to continue making the videos if I know that I know someone in real life who is watching me. I'll basically just be constantly thinking of that person that I know in real life when I'm looking at the camera, instead of thinking about what I want to say and what I think I need to say at the point. It won't be as organic, and I think that'll kind of destroy the project for me. So if you know me in real life, don't let me know you're watching these. Like, enjoy them, whatever, make fun of me behind my back, screw it, just don't let me know that you know, okay? Alright, glad we got that covered at least. Alright, I don't have anything else clever to say, so I'm probably just gonna sit here and sip my tea and try and feel less crummy. So, thanks for watching this far. This one was kind of long. I didn't mean to talk as much as I did. Right, let's come up with a clever sign-off.